preparing live stream. So we're going on a different live stream now. I'll have to transfer it later. Video unavailable. Oh, for flipping heck's sake.
This is what we had.
Go to home. Meet Atlanta. Paul Joe. I've got no idea what's going on here. The meeting is being live streamed. Got it. It says that now. And what I'll do, Elsa, is I'll also record this as well. I'll record it on Zoom itself, and if everything else fails, I'll just upload this later on. So we're up and running then. How are you? Lovely to see you. Anything interesting going on over in Australia at all?
Yeah, just the gates to heaven and God's home, and all those sort of things happening. just little stuff, nothing big. Just keeping it, under wraps. Yeah, how are you going?
Oh, well, I was just saying to you before, the last 4 weeks has been like hell. I've never been so ill for such a long time, and I always, the first thing is my ego jumps in to say, you must be doing something wrong, you must be doing this, that, and the other, but I get no joke. It's all being stepped up from both sides now. And all you need to do is you need to slow down, take it easy, put your health and well-being first and foremost, and do what you can. Try and keep yourself as clean as possible. Eat clean, drink clean, keep yourself warm, and look after yourself, because you push yourself too hard, you old idiot. And I say, thank you very much. Thank you very much for talking to me like that. Right. But it's true, I spread myself thin. And that's because there's some sort of deep indwelling people pleaser in me that sometimes finds it difficult to say no, So it's getting better now. It's resolving itself. I've never had so much snot come out of so many orifices in all my life, But when I went over to Texas, I wasn't firing on all cylinders. I wasn't myself, really, to be honest with you. And I just did the best that I could, but so many things happened, and we can talk about them, so many things happened over there of deeply profound significance that I needed to go anyway. I needed to go.
Well, maybe if you went on all firing cylinders, it would have spun everyone else off. So sometimes you got to look at it like that. And this phase that we're in is the stalled sun. And let me tell you, it's not mucking around. It really isn't. We've had 7 family members lying horizontal for 3 days. So it's just been Gidget and I okay. Although I'm coming out of I don't know what it was, but a full-on peeling, like a burning all over my face and my upper half, like the horses, like we have 2 white horses and their whole face is black. Like most people would say is cancer. We don't believe in cancer, so we treat it with colloidal silver, and it just drops off like crustaceans, like coral. We call it coral, face coral. But they're red raw, like me. I'm red raw. I'm just in the last stages of it now. But it's a stalled sun phase, and when it began, I think I sent you a message. It was quite. I was going into a session with the New Zealand group, and Jet had a car accident on the same hill that was the same hill in New Zealand that I was doing a session with them about. And so I was literally shaking because Jet's had an accident, but the exact same name, same location in New Zealand as well. It was very weird. And what was interesting is that he got jackknifed, which is our other son's name. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, this is, is this the universe really wanting me to say out loud that it's much bigger than us? It's much bigger than us. I know you think it's you and you think it's Elsa or Dr. Joe or Richard or the kids or whoever, you know, but it's not. This is bigger than us. And we're just tapping into it and allowing it, and it feels foreign, and it puts you out of whack because we're not used to it because it's foreign, right?
Yeah,
But
no,
it's
I agree
happening.
entirely. I agree. I got clearly. I mean, I've come back with such a strong resolve, right, to say this is not a joke, but it's funny, isn't it? Oh
Yeah.
God, because this is the
It's
way
so true.
my head, my mind, they talk to me, and there's always a sort of simmering laughter in the background,
Yeah.
as though what are you gonna do next? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can take this, and I'm pretty good at this, like you are, because I've had years and years and years of training in all sorts of shit, and I don't do drama anymore. And this is like from the biggest drama queen in the world, me, right, to I do not do drama at all now. So cut through
Mm.
the crap, right? You've been given a job to do, which you actually chose yourself. So why don't you start putting it into practice rather than just talking about it? And Joseph, we're not just talking to you, we're talking to everybody in the world, especially those within the spiritual community. I thought, oh God, I'm going to be Dr. Mr. Unpopular by saying this, But no, I'm having to say is listen, you lot, right? This is not about seeking fame and fortune and stardom, right? You may be
Yeah.
stars, but forget the stardom. You've got a job to do. It's right in front of your nose. So get on with it because time is running out. And yes, before you say it, smart ass, we know that there's no time, but time is running out. Right, I go,
Well,
okay, and would you like me to say this to anybody? Yes, broadcast it to them all. And I say, okay, no probs.
yeah. Yeah, so they're up there with their popcorn, you know, shoving mouthfuls in. I'm going, yeah, that's really funny. So yeah, I get that similar energy that you're talking about. You're on show for a reason, so step it up. Time is running out. The human race, this whole program is running out. So it's crumbling faster and faster now because we're all ascending, the quickening, and so this old way is falling apart. And so they're asking us to step it up. The more we step it up, the more we trigger others, like many of us, like what you're doing, triggering in others, and then it goes to another level again. It keeps lifting up. And this is I think this was what they hoped. The Hopi, the ancients, they wrote about this time as a time of salvation,
Yeah.
a time of greatness, and it's time to be the greatest version of yourself. And if that
Couldn't agree
means you
more.
have to lie down for 3 days, so be it.
Absolutely is look after yourself, but you've got work to do. And I agree with you entirely. It's almost like we're being focused in now, like laser lights. I get like a big snowplow, funnily enough, I get a snowplow that's going forward now. And then that sort of it's sort of just going forward and clearing a path now. And we need to walk along this path, shining light upon it. And people will follow us. People will follow us. I don't want to be a leader. Every time I get a direct message on Messenger or an email or anything like that, my head says immediately, will you F off and leave me alone? I'm too busy. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm very reluctant, sort of a unwilling leader type person. But I think a leader is just somebody who's just maybe being a couple of steps ahead, who's already been through this process in a way, right? And just can say to other people, look, I've been through that myself. This is what I did. you know, do have a go, see yourself, you know, see what you can do, take it or leave it, really. I just want to ask you a question is, the they that are the they that are talking to us. Elsa, who are they? Who are they?
All right, so they have a ring to it.
Oh no, no,
I
no.
know you and I have been laughing about this
Yeah.
all week. Again, you know, we have to have these laughs to keep us literally sane. That's what I feel. And, you know, we have to have these laughs and these funny little sayings and have a laugh at ourselves so that we can keep going as well, because otherwise you have meltdowns. Anyway, this ring to it, well, I know Neff's ring to it. That sounds rude. I know Neff's energy, so I know when she's coming in. She's been coming in big since the accident, big time. There's so many players in this that if we knew how many players were in it, we'd be completely overwhelmed. They know that we're fragile and they cannot interfere until we are in a balanced state, because the ancient ones that are inside us do have a hold of us, many of us at different stages. And they know that, the other ones. and you have to understand they're all different sizes as well. Like, this is what, you know, we just think of E.T., the movie, or the movie Alien, and we're so conditioned to what we think an E.T. is going to turn up. When they do turn up, they'll be right in front of you, and you'll say, well, I just want to have an ET experience, and they'll be standing in front of you. But this is what happens for us, and I'm going, are you kidding me? Are you seeing the eye contact you're getting? This person is not quite all human. They've got other stuff going in them, and they'll go, yeah, no, but I'm waiting for the craft to come down. It's like, I don't think you get this, you know. And they come in sizes that are so minute that our microscopes can't see them. So it's a bit like another film that our kids were in a play at school in Sydney. I think it was called Norton, and he had the speck on the flower. Dr. Seuss, you've just been hanging out with Kate, so you should be a Dr. Seuss expert by now.
And that's what I'm trying to get over that at the
moment. You've been Dr. Seuss. Yeah, with Dr. Seuss, it was an elephant who saved a flower because he heard on a speck on the flower that there was a whole world, and he could hear them. So he was talking to the mayor of this town, and now I want you to think of that speck, that mare, as being an ET. And when you start now seeing all these films that have been before us, and kids' films, you start to go, hang on a second. It's not what I think. It's not what I think.
I agree. I've been given such a lot of information since coming back from Houston. And a lot of it's confirmatory. And I hate repeating myself, you know what I mean? Because it's like I've said this before, you know, but I think we've got to repeat ourselves. I don't know whether it was you or somebody else that said it, that we keep having to repeat it because other people haven't heard it before. And we need to sort of almost like confirm it within ourselves as well. I mean, this is what I get a lot of, as you know, is the Ophiuchus energy, you know, Ophiuchus, you know, and then I get Ophiuchus, right? The 13th sign of the zodiac. And then all week I've been in, right? The land of Ua, you are. And I get that all the time. And I get, Joe, this is really reflective of ancient Sumeria. And I go, well, hang on, I don't want to leave Egypt because I like Egypt. I like that one. No, no, we're going to take you back further than that, Joe, to even more ancient civilizations. And when you get to ancient Sumeria, which is supposed to be the first civilization, we're going to take you back further and further and further to the end point, not the beginning place, right? Right, the end point of time. And at that point, time will stop, right? And then you will be at the beginning place. And then they take me back to the Aboriginals and they say, what does Aboriginal mean, Joe? And I got, well, Aboriginal means from the beginning, you know. So I get linked in then with Aboriginals. And then the Maori come in, and then the Polynesians come. I get like visited not only from everywhere out of space, but I also get everywhere in this earth as well, or on this earth. So it's almost as if, Elsa, over the last God knows how long, right? Every timeline has merged into one. And it's almost like I've been in some sort of ancient biblical Old Testament world, right? Playing it out myself. You know what I mean? Now, I don't fully understand it. As I've said to you before, in 1987, this overwhelmed me and I was running at the wall trying to smack my head to let it all out. But it's coming in now even more quickly, but I'm not overwhelmed with it. But I don't fully understand what action I need to take. And my thing is, Dr. Joe's big thing is, it's all very well talking about it, you know, but you've got to act upon the information received. That means you've got to do something. It's all very well sitting there on your bottom, just sitting, being, and sending out love. But you know, in the end, you maybe have to get up and actually get hold of the spade and start digging yourself. Oh God, I feel like I'm on one. I better pass over to you before they get carted off.
So, do you want to?
Yeah, you carry on.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So the rock voice when it first came through, I was like, "What is that?" Not because I had it the night before I saw Dr. Joe, and that was in July. So it's taken me a while to adjust to it, but they keep sharing that this is the one of the versions that were around before Maketh Man, and before the known age, before age was known. And I think this is similar to what you're speaking about. Rich has just handed me chocolate. Sorry, he's just handed it in the funniest way. I need chocolate. Anyway, so you brought up a date. So you brought up 1987? So 1981 to 1987 was a very weird stage. Now, some people in your audience might know it because this has really hit me. This is when a lot of alien films came out, E.T., Alien, thinking Ghostbusters, and then 2 songs came out. And they were very famous, one in the US and one here in Australia. One became like our national anthem. It's True Blue. True Blue came out through Madonna. And True Blue came out, and it's an Aussie song sung by an Aussie cowboy type. His name's John Williams, and it's become like our anthem in the Olympics and things like this. And I'm always very sus on these songs because these songs have had great impact, a lot of these songs. True Blue is they also have a sheepdog in Australia who rounds up the sheep is called a blue heeler. They've smear campaigned these words because they knew we were coming. Now, remote viewing has become more and more like a common word now. So spiritual people understand what remote viewing is, right? They knew we were coming. So if they've been remote viewing and they can smear campaign it. So from 1981 to 1987, there was this window here where they had, this is when a lot of ET activity was happening as well. Now, True Blue is the ones that could see blue. If you can't see blue, there's no green or purple. There's none. So the world changes very quickly visually. And because Richard and I are photographers, this is, we can clearly see it becomes like Mars very quickly. The hill that Jet crashed on is Tars. Tar. Tartarian, Tara. So we do this work with these amazing people in New Zealand. And then within 24 hours, the Gosford glyphs have been dynamited, blown up. Now, it's very clever when they do this. Most people in government know when to do acts because they know when they'll get the least attention. So do it the week before Christmas because everyone will be too busy. Yes, we think it's vandals. Oh yes, we blew it up because it was unsafe. These rocks have not moved for like 300 years. Why have they blown it up? Then you could say, oh, well, it's the butterfly effect from what we were doing with these beautiful New Zealand people. And I'm going to say yes to those beautiful New Zealand people. It was a butterfly effect. We didn't make something bad happen, though. It was these are alignments that need to happen. It's like the Lismore floods. They're alignments that set up. They need to happen. We don't create sandstorms or cyclones or whatever they are. It's just, okay, now you're ready for this. Now we'll clean up this. Now we'll clean up that. What they're doing, though, through their way, whether they're knowing they're doing it or whether they're not knowing it, they're doing it, it doesn't matter, because what it's doing is it's confirming what I say. But now it's confirming it within hours again. So now what happened with Neff and I in history is now happening with other things around the world, with other people, as we all step it up together. And it's amazing because it is really happening. And you talk about Tara. This is where Richard was born, the hill of Tara. Like, I mean, he wasn't born on the hill, but you get what I'm saying, right? Yeah. This Tar is mummy. It's Tar. Mars, it means it's not Gaia, it's Tara. It's not Gaia. It's Tara. It's Tara is the oak. It's in all our language. It's in all the mapping around the world. It's in all the ancient building sites. And they don't want us to know.
It's marvelous, and I've got the confirmatory sort of zub up and coming up my spine, and that's, you know, and it's almost like I get a feeling of like enclosure. It's almost like it would be nice if it was big wings and stuff like that, you know, but I get a snuggly thing to say, pay attention, son, this is more confirmation for you, you know. So I know that we live in this box of space and time here on planet Earth, right, which is Terra, right, Terra, Terra 3D, right. We move up to 4, 5, and 6 then, which becomes Tara. Then we move up the next 3, you know, the next density, the next harmonic universe, call it what you like. That's Gaia. And then we move into Arimathea, and then we move into all different more subtle energies. All this is very interesting. But, you know, my thing is, as you know, it's called Getting Real with Dr. Joe. And what that means is it's all very interesting, all this information, you know, and lots of it is clear and lots of it isn't clear. I don't really know what the truth is or seeing it fully. So I'm going to discard all that now. Can you just give me some information which I need to act upon, right, to improve my own life? You know, the life of my wife and the cats and my kids and everybody else, those things closest to me. And if there's any energy left, give me some more information to act on where I can maybe help other people. See, when I first started in this, I used to be like an ambulance chaser and thought that I had to save the planet, save the world. But in actual fact, they've told me, pull your horns in, just do what's in front of you. And you've got no idea of the effect that that's having. But just by talking about it, Joe, with Elsa and people like that, you're actually getting this information out. And more people now are receiving this information. They think that they're cracking up, but they're not, right? Because we're feeding them, we're drip feeding them with the information too. So when they see people like you, who used to be considered a loony, right? You're not a loony, son. In fact, you're right. You see clearer than most people because that's the job that you signed up for. I don't know what all that was about, but I mean, I know that you do. But the whole point about it is more and more, there'll be more and more light language stuff coming through ordinary people. And they'll think that they're freaking out. But there's a term called glossolalia, and it means talking in tongues. Glossolalia, because glossus means tongue, right? And there'll be more people who are humming away, singing away, and suddenly it all starts to come through. They'll think that they're cracking up. They're not cracking up. They're receiving the information that they need to take action on, to go forward in their own lives and to help other people as well. I feel like a preacher today, but I'm just going to keep speaking until it stops, right? So if these things are happening to you, first of all, you are not alone. You are no longer alone. You've got so much help coming from these so-called extraterrestrial dimensions, which really aren't extraterrestrial because we're all in this great big thing together. It's just a term. They're actually different dimensions of information and streams of consciousness that if you can sit still long enough and accept it, it will help you if you take action on it. And if you get any information that's about harming anybody else, it's not correct, because above all, do no harm. It doesn't mean to say that you can't stand up and protect yourself, right? But it means that if you go out and you start a fight, then you're definitely on the wrong path. Goodness gracious me, Elsa. Right. And let me say something else about Argon, because he's in as well, right? Right. Argon's in, and I got yesterday, right, about Argon's relationship with Moses, right, and Nefertiti's relationship with Moses as well as his stepmother. And I thought, oh my God, what's all this about, right? And I said, look, Joe, download this document. And Elsa, I've got a document here, and I'll send you a copy of it. It's all about somebody's master's thesis who's gone deeply into the ancient sort of information about the relationship with Moses. Now, I know a lot of this is sort of symbolic. And by the way, David Bowie's in there with Blue, Electric Blue, Sound and Vision. Right, okay, so he's in, right? And that's also associated with Let's Dance. There's an Aboriginal dancing with him, right? I don't know, this comes in so quickly that I don't really understand what it means, but it's just confirmation again. Right, I'll have to shut up now. I can hardly breathe now. I need to take a breath. So over to you. Pick the bones out of that one, old chap.
Pick the bones out. So, okay, where do I go with that one? Yeah, so, okay, let's bring it to getting real. So let's get real with this. So, okay, so you're telling me that we have to control the parasites and viruses in us. Our family are so sick of hearing me talk about it, but it has come to a crunch time. We're coming up to fasting seasons. This word fast, feast, fest is if you take out those main letters, it's S and E, which is seed. And it's very important that today is the beginning of Yuletide, which we believe coincides with the Halcyon phase, which is Pleiades, Easter Islander, and the east coast of Australia, and the Wales songline. And so these dates are now overlapping, so they're the same, similar dates. Now, Yuletide was when I worded it today, it is, I think I got it as down to God's cell, and the word seed. Now, this is important because they're asking us to look after the origin of us, So if you go into this phase now, and which we do, they created this feast, and it's been deliberately created. Look, I love family tradition and all this. I love all the family coming together and having a great big meal, but more than ever, be aware of what you're eating if it's too starchy, because this will create great mucus in you, and this is going to be coming up. It's coming up in everyone. So make sure you have a control on the starch and the sugars in your, just if you can, just even just hear these words, maybe have one less serving or something than you normally would, or just a little. It doesn't have to be a great act, just a little bit less, or just to support your body through what's coming. They're preparing us for what's coming next year. And I keep getting told, basically, they're really rude, get your shit together. Basically, that's what they're saying. But literally, get it together and move it out. Now, it's a lot of this swollen gut thing, which I've had this week as well. It's either in your reproductive system or in your digestive tract. And one of the ones that isn't great is it hardens your spleen. I mean, why am I telling a doctor this? Seriously. Anyway, I'm just telling you how they've shown me, and they showed me. I said, okay, well, this is great, but how am I going to get real with this, right? How am I going to help my family with this information? And they went, milk thistle. And I was like, are you kidding? Milk thistle? And so, because we don't want to go to the hospital, we don't want to buy pharmaceuticals, but I want to be able to know I can walk into a paddock somewhere and get it, because life should be free. And so I go down with the little girls on the horses to get some fresh grass for the horses. And what's right in front of me? A milk thistle. So I got my gloves. I didn't have thick enough gloves. So I got thorns all in my hands. So now we've got all the milk thistle seeds, and now we can actually put it into, like you said, into act. And we can all take milk thistle seeds and see how we feel from it. And then if it works, then we become like, the grandmas and the oracles. We share that. And so it's the same with dandelion root. It's a high potent vitamin C hit. The other one I got was, if back in the ancient times you wouldn't have seen this one, is in Australia they call it wandering dew, which I think is not a very nice name, but it caught my attention. And it's this little green plant that grows everywhere like a vine. We're told in Australia it's a weed, but it's not. It's actually native to Australia. It's forget-me-not. And I was like, are you kidding me? Forget-me-not. It's also called scurvy ivy. So I've been walking along now, and just because I know that I need vitamin C, and for our family, buying fruit is very expensive in Australia for a family of 10. So, I mean, people get excited when they get presents and stuff. We get excited if we get apples. I know that sounds really pathetic, but it's really true. So we'll go and get dandelion root, and now forget-me-not. Forget-me-not's flowers are blue.
Yeah.
And a lot of the blue shiver tree, they're blue seeds from it, the sacred blue seeds that look like earth and look like an eyeball, are full of vitamin C as well. They're as bitter as anything. So is the forget-me-not. But so now I wasn't lying down ill like the rest of the family because I'm eating forget-me-not. Do you get what I'm saying? So it comes to you as you need it, and it's right there under my feet, literally. And it's always been there.
My wife, who's the most sensitive creature on the planet, is into homeopathy, which I am as well. Homeopathy, herbal medicine, all these sort of things. And she believes that everything's around us, it's free, and she doesn't do people, my wife, she just does animals and plants, you know what I mean? Because that's her sensitivity, really. And it's all very good. When I wrote down forget me not, I spelt it forget me not, KNOT. So it's almost like a disentangling thing, really. But halcyon, that's an association with the kingfisher to me. I don't know whether you've made that connection before or whether it means anything at all. But the kingfisher is important to me as well because it represents beauty, it represents freedom, and all those sorts of different things. I got really in the end is right that we're moving into a completely different energetic structure that now will be based just upon hydrogen and helium, because the hydrogen ion, I don't know where I'm going with this, but just bear with me. So we're going on to a hydrogen sort of energetic structure, which has always been there. But also I kept getting this picture of, I thought it was it's a chemical picture and it's NH3, which is ammonia, right? And I got the importance of ammonia as well and its effect on the human body as well, because this is all about hydrogen ions, which, Joe, are protons. This is all about proton pumps. It's all about the move towards hydrogen energy and stuff like that. There'll be so many attempts now to stop this, but this is basically where the free energy will come from in the future now. And there'll be so much sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Obstruction put in our way, but this is the way forward. I don't know why I'm saying this. There must be people listening to this, who feels it's important. So I just want to go back. Just bear with me a second because I made some notes and I got mention this to Elsa, and so I'm gonna mention it, right? But also about the rod and staff, right? And I know that you mentioned, and we've had a sort of a downshift of the crossbar, and it's a plus sign now, really. So the rod and staff now, there's vertical and horizontal alignment happening, right? But the spleen is so important because the spleen is so important now because it's basically the energy center of the body that's connected to the heart, that's connected to the immune system, and it's actually called the pranic triangle. There's a well-known thing in energy medicine called the pranic triangle, right? And it's also about a point at the back of the shoulder blade. It's the heart and it's the spleen as well. And that's being obstructed. I'll just keep going on this again. Your left pectoral muscle, right? In most people, it's congested and obstructed. So there's a point here, right? Just above here. It's called the cardiac trigger point. It's a tender spot. And if you can press on it, you'll find a really tender spot. If you can really press on it hard and start stretching it, what it will do is it will de-obstruct, right, the energetic flow from the heart, from the back point here, the splenic point, right, and also the spleen as well. It will de-obstruct that. So the most important thing is most of us have been hunched over like that. And I saw this so much over in Texas. We're hunched over because the first place that every human being protects is the heart, and it also to do with the left pectoral muscle as well. And I know that you're getting some understanding of this as well because it's applicable to you because of that thing that you had there in your left hand side. So it's almost like obstructed the flow of information that's supposed to go right down the hands, right, and out of the left hand as well. So there we are, Elsa. Oh, there we go, Elsa. Say something about that, if you would, please.
Well, this is one thing I want to ask you about. Is so they bring up the four humours and the wet, because they're in the tar language. They bring up the wet ones. So we're classed as the wet ones. And I'm not sure if it's because we're wetter than what we are on Mars. And now I'm understanding that there is life on Mars, whether it's running now or not, I don't know. But they compare us, the two. The name Tars and Taria is because we're like, I don't know, sisters or brothers, the two brothers, maybe. Gigi's drawn a brother from Mars and a brother from Tara here, and they look like Easter Islanders type beings, and she said they were brothers. And now so she drew this. She had foresight of this back in 2019 or 2020. She drew these brothers. She allowed the information to come through, but I'm actually starting to understand now because I'm ready. I'm ready to understand it. Your rock voice triggered me. I got obviously to an emotional level where I could go, okay, I'll understand all this information. So you have the 4 humours, which is the same as the 4 cardinals. And the 4 humours, so it's yellow bile, black bile. I think it's water and blood. I think that's what it is.
I remember.
Oh, no, it's mucus. It's phalgum and blood.
Okay.
Which I love because for nearly 6 months, I thought phalgum was a whole new form of illness, and I kept going on about it to Richard, and he thought it was really. I know I've said this before in interviews, but it just makes me laugh. I said, there's this new thing, and it's making everyone really sick, and it's called phalgum. He says, how's it spelled? And he said, you idiot, it's phlegm.
Yeah.
I've gone, oh. Okay, so he's just like wiped out 6 months of me researching this phlegm. So I call it phalgum. But yeah, so they're the 4 humours, and this is how they would diagnose you back in the probably before medieval. And they would test the 4 humours, which is similar to the Asian culture. They have 5, but they would test those. So you would go to a doctor or a witch doctor or, the oracle in the village or the town, and they would see what state of mind you were in. And that's how they would interpret your wellness. And it's interesting because this is what the animals do. They go up and sniff you because they want to know how many things you have in you and where you're at. That's what they're doing. They're not sniffing you because you smell. But your smell is, you give off a scent in the energy state you're in. So if you're in fear, has a really weird smell to it. Like I know now why sharks can find us. We had one boating trip where we got stuck out and it went really rough seas. It was on Gigi's birthday. I remember the day. And we were living in Sydney and we got stuck out in a boat, and we had we had 3 children, myself and Richard. It was a 40-foot boat, but we're way out in the ocean coming down the coast, and we hit full on westerly winds hitting the boat, and we couldn't turn back, and we had to go forward. We were like halfway. And the boat, every single time we come up, it would crash down, and the 2 dogs were shaking. You could smell their fear. And the smell coming out of all of us had fear smell. We absolutely stunk. I've never been so aware of the smell of fear. So it proved to me that emotions have fear, a smell to it. Like emotions have different smells to them. And it brought me to these 4 humours, which is the 4 wetnesses of human. And the reason that I bring up this is because that's one of the terms they use for us, some of these beings, the ones that use us as hosts. They call us the wet ones. I'm like, really? You're calling me a wet one now? Oh, it's funny. It's funny. It's funny, but it's very real, and it's important to.
This is so fascinating. This has taken me back, God knows, 35, 40 years to my first psychology lesson about the humours, right? And I remember it clearly. I remember the professor who was teaching us, and I was thinking, God, I didn't know this before. This is really interesting, this really. But when people vent their spleens, it's a deobstruction process. When gorillas do this as well, they're clearing a channel so that their vital energy can flow. And we need to learn a lot from you see, here it comes now. Right, and I got before this. David Bowie popped in again to tell you that there is life on Mars. Is there life on Mars? There is life on Mars, right? So there's all this stuff's coming in. Just let me say some other things that have been coming in. The Taurus Mountains, right, in the north. Iraq is so important at the moment. Iraq, okay. Iraq, Antarctica, right? Australia, New Zealand, Polynesia, all those sorts of things. There's lots of stuff going to be going on here now, right? And we've got to observe it and just come back to not worry about stuff, because fear, you're right, pheromones. People who are on this pathway now, who are evolving more and more, will start to taste things differently. Their food tastes will change, right? But they'll start to smell differently. They'll start to pick up pheromones, right? This is all really to do with their sensory nasal stuff's going to change, because they're going to start to pick up, like animals do, more pheromone stuffs as well, you know. And I know this because, I mean, all my life I've been very tuned into nasal things and smells, and people have not. I've said to them, can you smell that peculiar smell? They go, no, you know. And I know that I've known when certain things have been happening to ladies, and they're coming to their menstrual period as well. I've known that 2 or 3 days before them, because of what I'm picking up on the airwaves and stuff like that, you know. So I think what's happening is, for everybody on the planet, our senses are opening up more. They're expanding. You'll start to smell differently, taste differently. People have even said to me over in Texas, they've said, I can start to smell differently, under my arms smell differently, and stuff like this. The things people tell me, you know, it's amazing. But this is a positive thing, and it's not to try and hide it with sort of antiperspirants and deodorants. You know, this is the this is what's happening, is we're being returned to the natural, normal human smells, and at the same time we're getting extra sensory perception. Extra, and extra means expanded. It doesn't particularly mean another gift or whatever. These are just gifts, not gifts. They're abilities that have been closed down because of fear. And we're being told now, the influx of information, it's flowing in now to say, just let go, surrender. The process is bigger than you. Just surrender. We've got you covered. Christ Almighty, I'm definitely on one. But it's definitely about, and can I just say, these are words that come to me. I've said about you are, and also new. You are new, and new is water. And to pay particular attention to the fourth phase of water that they're trying to say doesn't exist. Yes, it does. It's structured water. It's EZ or EZ water, and it's really the channel through which more and more information comes in. So hydration's important, very important as well. So that's the new, because new is basically oceanic consciousness, but it needs to be played out in the physical as well. So we need to look at our hydration potential, which is to do with our pH, and then we get back to then hydrogen, hydroxyl radicals, HOH, right, ammonia, NH3, the CH3. Honest to God, there's so much coming in. But let me just get me breath a second, just to say thank you very much and all that for all this information that's coming in. But can you show me what action I need to take right in front of me now to become more effective in passing the message on? Thank you very much. And Nineveh, what the hell's Nineveh? I've heard Nineveh. Oh no, Elsa, I'm sorry, just let me do this. The two river thing is so important to me, because I keep getting Tigris and Euphrates. I get Mesopotamia, I get the delta, and I get the flow of the Tigris and the Euphrates, representing the yin and the yang, the masculine, the feminine, the sympathetic and parasympathetic. Get out of the way and allow them to balance themselves out, because that's the sort of metaphor of what's happening within the human body as well. Jesus Christ. Sorry, Jesus. Over to you.
No, I Okay, so I'll see if I can do it like in point form, so then I'm shorter. Okay, so I just want to say, I know I'm on Dr. Joe's show, but this New Zealand group are really beautiful people. They are. They live in the land of the haka, the warrior ones, and they're an amazing group. Anyway, they've helped me to understand many things, so thank you to them. They've helped me so I can help answer these questions now. So New Zealand is New Sea Land, and it looks at Australia. East Tar Island. That connects to the Pleiades, which connects to the Halcyon phase. The Halcyon phase is the Halcyon bird, the kingfisher, and it comes in this time of storms. And the great message of the Halcyon bird, the Hellbringers, they're bringing in all the comets and the asteroids. They ask you to stay in peace and calm. They bring forth the jinn, which is many people class this as an evil spirit. It's also the genie. It's also the green gas, which is argon. Argon refers to dragon. Argon is a noble gas that is classed as the lazy one. So be lazy in the stalled sun. Are you getting this? Be lazy in the stalled sun and be like argon, non-reactive, because there will be reactive ones going on in this phase who are not conscious of what is going on in them. So they'll be acting out what they've been informed or programs. See how it marries up over? How to get real about it? All right. I knew that inflammation was going to be big. Now, inflammation is pretty much every illness you have in your body is literally a parasite or virus that has been misdiagnosed. I go on about it because it is. It really is. And so mucus, and I had no idea that mucus is one. So I went, okay, well, how can I reduce mucus in me? And the highest one was turmeric. And so we've got fresh turmeric, and I've actually been, because I personally don't take pills, tablets, or vitamins, but I've been cutting the turmeric raw as the size of a tablet and drinking it. Like I probably have been drinking 4 tablets of turmeric, cut turmeric, with water. I gag because I do find it strong. But I have not been lying down flat like the rest of the family. Because they've had mucus symptoms, which can either be headaches, trouble breathing, constipation, bloating, and the other one that was pressure here, those excruciating headaches, tooth pain. This is a big one, tooth pain. And there's one other one, but mucus is a big one. So turmeric is been amazing. It really has. And it's brought down all the swelling in my face. And let me tell you, it was swollen. I kept saying to the kids, am I okay to go on? Am I too swollen? And they said, how much turmeric are you eating? Because it's working. It is working. As is the forget-me-not, as is the dandelion root. And, these products are there before us as we walk. And when you were speaking, so this is what happens when Dr. Joe speaks, I have information come through, and you were saying helium and hydrogen. And hydrogen is high, and helium sounds like healing. So high healing, right? I go, okay, where are we going with this? The reason that water is so calming and hydrating for us is because we started off as tar, intelligence, and it cocooned us. So when this we've had 100 asteroids go past us with the Geminids, and now we're in the Ursids. They're not as many per hour, but there's still a lot, and they come through the day. So we're getting solar flares. Just because you can't see them, don't think they're not raining on us. And we've had huge solar flares. So this is falling on us with the hydrogen, which you were talking about. And maybe this water in us on Tara is remembering that water from other galaxies or something, or maybe it's remembering itself in different ways. This is why we're getting more and more people are having this intel or light language or, you know, channeling or, yeah, do you get what I'm saying, right? So it's like old friends coming back together to create higher breeds. It's really, it's such a cute fairy tale. It really is.
You know, I've got that feeling now where I just want to cry again. And this is what happened to me
Yeah.
over in Houston. In I got like, you know, that coming home feeling. And thank Christ for that. It's nearly all over and all that, you know. And I get this, you know, and I'm not a whinge bag really. I'm very cut through sort of a person, take no shit, you know. But you know, when this comes up, it's real. I'm not, this is not sentimentality. This is coming from the depths. And when I was over there, I shared a light language conversation session with somebody, right? And I just burst into tears while we were doing it, you know. And I've never, in fact, it's here with me now. I've never had a feeling like this in my life, and I've been a deep feeling person, you know what I mean? I am like Dr. Joe the romantic, you know what I mean? But this feeling was something that I've never experienced before, ever, as far as I can remember, right? And it's had such a powerful impact upon me. And the person that I did the like, and we will be doing more. So you know, it was a conversation from ancient past, right? And it was a reconnection at such a deep level that it was just absolutely amazing. And what it's made me realize is that basically, Joe, you haven't you haven't got a clue what's going on, you know. And I never think I've got a clue, you know, because I mean I always ever feel like I'm just scratching the surface. And all I ever want to do, and clearing my throat, it's called phlegmatic. You know, when you clear your throat, that's called being phlegmatic, you know, or as you might say, right? You know, but phlegmatic, you know, so the humors are important. And, you know, you talked about the cardinal points. I see it once again as that it's not linear, it's spherical, it's global, it's like a ground thing. And really, that what we're being guided towards individually now are different coordinates in this global sort of thing, you know. So it also takes us back to the four chambers of the heart and the four chambers of the brain as well, you know. So that becomes like a quadrant thing as well. But each of us has got specific coordinates. And I know that chap you were talking to on the thing you put up yesterday, Stargate, that's like my whole life. I'm like Daniel Jackson of Stargate because basically he was a sort of a doctor type person, a scientist who was having all this information. He was saying to the proper scientists who aren't proper scientists, he'd be saying, look, everybody, it works like this. And they're all going, get shut of him. He's a nutter, you know what I mean? And that's basically what's been happening to me. But the stuff that's coming through me, not that I'm anything special, because there's loads of people getting this information, but the stuff that's coming through me now is becoming more and more accepted, you know. And you mentioned helium, you know, but you mentioned argon, and I got Argon as well, you know, and Argon's to do with all this sort of, that takes me back into the old mythology. But what I got really was these are the noble gases. These are the noble gases: helium, argon, xenon, krypton. We've talked about this previously a couple of months ago, but they are the stabilizing influences around which all this dynamic activity is taking place. You know, I know I've sort of hijacked that, Elsa, but there's so much coming in. And again, tell them about the Taurus Mountains and the south of Turkey, because that's an area of interest. And now, you know, people must understand this. I say these things, whether or not they come true or not, I don't know. All I'm doing is opening me gob, right, letting it come out. And I'm more surprised than anybody else when it comes true.
Well, so I want to, okay, so we've just done a real time thing. So you've just brought up the noble gases again, but you brought up the noble gases well before I understood it. And then Argon, or Argon, Argon is one of in the kids' films with a dragon, E-Dragon, I think it is, with one of those really great actors. I mean, they're great actors, but I'm sure they got a whole thing behind them. But anyway, he's a great actor. I love him, and he's on Egon, and his dragon is called Argon. So there's no. This is these noble gases you speak of are the royals. They're the royals.
Okay.
And if you follow their properties, a lot of them, they'll follow the 10 Commandments, their behavior, and I love Argon because non-reactive is, I mean, Jem came home today and she said she had so many, she was out in Byron, she went surfing. She said, we're in Byron and I want to go surfing, and the aggressiveness of the energy of the tourists in the area, I did not feel safe in the water. She's happy to swim and surf with white pointers and tiger sharks, but she's more concerned about the behavior of other surfers that are not locals. Are you kidding me? I said, come home and have dinner. Because and then she said she had someone tailgating her and high beaming her all the way home because she didn't put her blinker on. I mean, really? So, I said peace and calm, like the kingfisher, the halcyon phase, and be non-reactive, and move out the way. Allow them to spin off. That's what their journey, and that's okay. And keep your mucus down, and cut back on the starch. They showed me please ants, peasants, peas ants. It's peas ants. This is pleasant, please, peasant, pheasant. Peas ants is starch ants, and it's easy to manipulate you if you have a lot of starch in you. This is why the royal family. This is a thing. She makes you sign something before you join the royal family that you won't eat starch. Why? They know. I mean, I didn't make. I'm not. This is information that you can all look up. This tar coming on us, it does actually create mucus in us because it's the newer stuff coming in, and the other stuff you don't need anymore. Yeah. So it might not all be parasites. It might be just old ways that you have carried around in these bodies. It might be even DNA karma. I don't know, but it just doesn't serve you anymore. So it's getting that out and bringing the new in all at the same time. No wonder they want us to be stalled and like Argon, the lazy one, because you need to take time out for yourself and rest. But what do they do at Christmas time? They make you run around. and
they don't make me run around because I just will not go. I will not go anywhere near. No, I'm not going. And you mentioned last night. No, no. That means stop, right? And I've learned that now. No,
Yeah. You are. I watched one of your rock voices that you did. I don't know if you picked up on. I'm going to bring this to your attention in real time. When you're doing the rock voice, you do this thing with your hand where you spin it like this, and it's like you wouldn't have noticed that you were doing it. It's I see a lot of light language people do this, and it's like a Tai Chi movement. So it's like you're shifting the space or the intelligence in you to push that intelligence out the way so you can collect this one more. Because there's all information in front of us all around, just because we can't see it, which comes to true blue. So if they couldn't see blue back then, and we can see blue now, with this new way that we're having coming through the hybrid, what are we going to see next? Is it going to be ultraviolet? Is it going to be more infrared? Are we going to be able to see more at night? Like what? So it makes it exciting, right? It makes it become the mystery of life more a mystery now because it's possible.
I couldn't agree more, and it needs to be exciting, because we've spoke about this before. I'm easily bored. when I can do something and think, all right, I can do that now. What's next? You know what I mean? I slap it out like a thing on the computer screen, and look what the next scene's coming up. So, but protons, photons, and phonons. Okay, and so this is what I'm getting as well, and the human race now is we talked about this last time. We're going through a sublime evaporation. It's a sublime evaporation, and it's to do with phases of water now. And there's almost like a boiling now, but it's to do with this fourth phase of water. But it's almost like 1, 2, 3, the three sub dimensions of the first harmonic universe, right, are sort of evaporated now. Right. We'll never forget the memory of them, but we're not attached to the memories of them anymore. And that's what's happening really. So we're moving up now, right? Almost from terror, not terror, but terror as well, into Tara. So we're really actually coming back into this Tara mentality, which is a very subtle energy, really. I mean, there's so many things. When I talk to you, there's so many things that come up, right? It's just absolutely
Well,
amazing. This is what I got when I was doing the light language conversation, right? And there will be more coming up. When I was doing the light language conversation, right, what happened was I clearly got a picture, right, of a blue being that's been with me all my life, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful feminine female blue being with a great big diamond there, and because when it comes in, when it used to come in, I used to think, oh Christ, I'm cracking up again. But this is what God is. Joe, we don't come from this galaxy. We come from a different galaxy, a galaxy that people aren't aware of. It's actually the next galaxy. It's the Sagittarius Dwarf Galaxy, and it's also related to Antares as well. Antares is a red dwarf. It's a giant, and I must tell Elsa that there's giants knocking about, right? And so I got the red dwarf, but we are not well known to the human race, but we're on our way. And I go, okay, that's fine. And they said to me that the planet Earth actually originated from this galaxy and not what people think. And I don't understand all this. I just take it in board. And that really doesn't matter to me where planet Earth came from. It's once again is I need to keep my feet on the ground because I could easily get taken away with all this, right, and distracted. And all I want to do is I just want to be more effective of passing the message that there's so much help out there if we can just stop, sit down, open up, and ask the question, will you help me, please? And just wait for the answer to come through.
Yeah. Well, this is what I did with, because I knew that the 100 meteors were coming through. So I asked for help. So then they brought forth the turmeric, which I already knew about turmeric, but it really brought it, take it with a conscious now, take it definitely, and the milk thistle. So if this comes through for me, it can come through for you as well, but you have to sit with it. If you're having a busy schedule and are not allowing space for these things to come through, what are you doing? Like, is it really that important that it will affect your health? And this is probably the biggest thing that comes up in a lot of sessions is they put, like you said, we're human and we put others or things before our senses. And this is where we have to start with our senses and then go from there. And then it seems to make me smile more this way. Yeah, it does. It does. It makes me smile more because I just go, so our son's just had an accident and it relates to New Zealand and Easter Island, but he's okay. The car's okay. And then I've got Gemma ringing me the next day going, that the rock that Jet crashed his car into, because his car's it's a write-off. His car's a complete write-off. I went and picked the crystal out of the front of his car and it's red ochre. do you know that that's a sacred stone to the indigenous? They use it for mapping. And I went, what? She's like, yep. And I go, all right, thanks, Jim. So
I love it. I love it when the whole family's involved. My kids are
yeah.
coming more and more into this now, and that this is it's amazing to me. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go. And they go, hey, Dad, right, this happened in the night. And I said, oh, yeah. So what? Right, right. I said, I've been trying to tell you for the last God knows how many years, right? So guess who's just about to make an appearance now before we go?
The rock. Can I say one more thing? I don't know
Of
if
course
you
you can.
noticed, but on your video with Kate, you were wearing liver. Your t-shirt was liver, and I'm going, really? He's wearing liver, and I'm doing the whole turmeric thing, and then you have the Stargate on your cap, on your crown. You don't realize it's a gate. H is door. It's do. It's the two doors of the spleen. So you got liver, and you've got Heaven's Gate or God's home on your head. I'm going, really? He's walking around in Houston with that? No wonder
Well,
he's buzzing.
well, honest to God, there was, it's so many synchronicities, and we just went down that marketplace, and I don't know, by the way, how those people in America eat so much, right? Because I thought I ate a lot, but good God, right? I'm like lettuce leaf Joe when I go over there. But anyway, lots and lots of stuff happened, but and as you see, look, this comes through now, so
Yeah, he's coming.
it's going to come, but I've got no
I'll
ready.
mute.
Yeah. Alors, kusur yamato sheye aku. Ne yakuru shemiato shem asuri mu use ane kura pasha and skurma. Ane semiatro is your tears come through. Na kore di shemaya, love comes through from the depth. Ya do yam tasuri uchnasare yaman shibaratak nuhu. Alo toni asa at na hut it film avatar flying thing. Mora siri ori mota shubura tunga bache. Leia kosupinatuch. A seb yarum do tesha perind otikan samta koshaine en metarusia. Because urunni tasha megat. Lanio kubra samta kashia wa nekura samsagaya. Holanet o kapase. Ulega kurosapio kala. Alokuru yakwa. Ula yukna yosapio. La kusorio. Hola que the son of John. Oh, oh, oh. Oh. Happy Christmas. Mula kuna sabio. Mula yoro yala saban biko la batanza. Mula mek hotsana, mula. Holo la 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 la. Holo non makonsat. Hot, jet, ur. Hola. Happy Christmas, everybody. Oh, good heavens. I
You're
have
back.
to play this back to see what was going on there. But what happening now is I'm always getting it on. It comes through. By the way, I've looked up the research on glossolalia, and there's definitely a completely different channel that goes on. They've done functional magnetic resonance imaging on people who are speaking in tongues, and it comes through a completely different channel than normal talk as well. So there's neuroscientific evidence behind this now, right? And I'm not bothered about it now because there's so many different dialects coming through. How was that?
So how is that? So it's just it's the cosmos law, and you let go of LAW and you allow LORE, which is LORE, which is the way. And it's interesting, this voice, it's happened before. This way it's the first, like, disciple comes through, they're not from the same place. They don't feel like they're from the same place, but he is like a guide for the heavy dude. I call him the heavy one. He's because whatever rock or it feels heavy, and your voice goes heavy when you go really deep. It doesn't even pick up sometimes on the microphone how heavy it goes, which is, it's interesting, right? It's the frequency, because whales do this. They go so deep you can't even pick it up. They talk about this in animals where the noise, you can't even pick it up, which then comes back to what we were talking about with the true blue. So, you know, maybe in a couple of years' time with this rock voice, we will actually hear it completely differently because we would have become higher breeds. And then possibly by a few years down the track with this sort of stuff, it won't be, it'll be common. It'll be taught in schools. It'll be allowed everywhere. And I still can't. I still keep seeing Dr. Joe come to my local Aldi store and start talking in rock voice. I think that would just be the ants' pants. Like, seriously.
The ants' pants. Very good. Very good.
Oh, it just...
It's so lovely to see you laughing like this, honestly, you know.
Yeah,
and it's got to be, you know, it is light-hearted but deadly serious at the same time. And what's happening to me now is it's almost like Joe gets pushed out over there. This thing is happening over here, but I'm sort of getting half a translation coming through now in a sort of, a laugh. It's almost like a laugh, but that other voice that comes in beforehand, that's such a loving, guiding voice. Right. And I don't know whether that's to do with ancient Sumeria or ancient Egypt or whatever, but there does seem to be some sort of connection there with the sands of time. The sands of time.
Yeah. I really felt like it's like he's bringing in the big guy. It's like if how you describe the planets. So you have the smaller planet bringing in, and then you have Jupiter come through. That's kind of how it feels when, and it's like it's warming your vocal cords up as well to get ready for him, because you can see when you sort of come back in, your eyeballs go really weird.
Thanks very much.
They do. They go really glassy. They pop back in. Like, it's like, that's why. Where do you go? I'm curious because I don't do light language. I want to know, where do you go when that voice happens? Do you see? I'm always curious. I always want to ask. Do you see black, or do you just go? Where do you go?
I don't know really. I'm sort of over there in like a dark room,
Like in Standby.
Yeah, like in the green room, I'm over there in the green room waiting to come back in, really, you know. And there's a part of me, and I've got to say this, that thinks I'm making it all up, you know what I mean? But I've had so much confirmation, right?
Yeah, no, yeah.
I don't know, Elsa, and I'm just doing it because I really don't care now. But people it seems to be resonating with people. And by the way, this is what I got told this morning. Tell her that light language is on the way for her too. I think, all right. So if you're ever humming or singing or whatever, and you're gonna right, it's on the way, right? And I thought, okay, well, I'll tell her, right? So maybe when you're going down to the local oldie or whatever they call it, and you say, "Can I have 3 tomatoes?" Yeah. And then those people that follow me around, the ones with the white coats, they'll be coming to follow you as well. Elsa, if we can't laugh about this, then what's the point, honestly? What's the point?
What's the point? Yeah, I know.
Listen, I'll have to go now. We've done like nearly an hour and 25 minutes, but so much. Just bear with me one sec. Saturnalia, I got Saturnalia, Joe. Saturnalia, it's the you are again, Joe. It's the you are. Look how many times, right? Because really, It's about Atlantis and Lemuria as well. You know, you are generally being guided mostly by the Lemurian energy, but now the Atlantean energy is coming through in ice. And I got Jor-El. Jor-El, I thought I've heard of that. Isn't that to do with Superman? And I got, yeah, go and have a look. And I got the Crystal City, Antarctica, Jor-El. Because Joe, you're almost like a grandfather type figure, and people look up to you and it's thinking, oh, don't be on all that. And I go, look at the connections, Joe. Look at the connections. Moses, Joseph, right? Jor-El, Odin, Thor, that all this stuff coming in. What was the other one? The mythical one, the King God, Uther Pendragon, and I'm going, oh, do I have to? And they go, oh, shut up, moaning, and just get on with it, really. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm up to. And like that bloke said, you know, he got told he was this, right? I don't care about all this stuff, really. All I want is simple, straightforward, real advice to take action on to make my life and maybe the life of other people a bit better. End of story, really.
Yeah. But it's like what we're talking about is complicated, but it's actually not. Not literally,
Yeah,
not.
no.
It's not complicated. This because we've been practicing it for a long time. I actually find 3D world complicated because
Me
it
too.
doesn't make sense. I'm constantly saying it doesn't make sense. That's ridiculous with all them. So they're looking at me saying I'm ridiculous, but I'm looking at them saying, and this is the separation, and it's okay. The contrast is supposed to be there, so that will make them, you know, like being in the headlights sort of thing. And they'll prick up to it because it will be on show and it will be in their face and it might irritate them. Whatever emotion it does, it will trigger something in them that they'll say it's wrong, but it will start igniting in them. It can't not. It ignited me back in 97. It does. It just ignites because it's pure intelligence. It's not forced or informed intelligence. So there's a difference because it comes from love, which is creation. This is what really love is. It's unconditional and it's waiting for you all the time. It's just there. It's just there. It's waiting for you just to step to the right and let left field come in.
The final thing I'd just like to say, if you don't mind, is that I keep getting is, Joe, you went through a process where you needed to hit a rock bottom. The whole of the world. Oh, I never thought of that before. There you go, rock. Yeah, there you go. Missed that completely. You've had to hit a rock bottom, Joe, right, in order to get into a position where you actually ascended through the next ceiling of consciousness. And I thought, well, what do you mean? The whole world, Joe, is necessarily going through the whole process. Nobody on the planet can escape this. And really, the only solution, right, is to surrender totally and allow this process to take place, because there is a sublime evaporation taking place where people will be moved to the next dimension of their evolution. So please try and put this message out across. And I got told a long time ago is, well, how can we help people? It's by raising the rock bottom. You can save people 10 to 15 years of suffering just by planting the seeds, right? And what are the seeds? The seeds are surrender, let go, trust the process, right? And just try and live one breath at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time. Don't worry about the future. It's far too complicated for the human mind to understand at this moment, but you'll get the information 3 months after you've taken the action. There we are. That was a bit like a preachy thing there, but I believe wholeheartedly that that's the only way forward is give in, right? Because I give in, accept, and trust the process.
Yeah, live day to day. Don't live so far ahead all the time. Just live day to day. Don't live in the past. Don't live in the future. Just live day to day. What can I do today? What can I do today? And if you can just come to this, you'll actually not know which day of the week it is, and time starts to leave you and you actually start to look younger. And we've noticed this in so many people. We have. I mean, I know you said that you felt sick, but you look great. Like you look happy. And, you know, this is, you know, if I was back in medieval time and you came to me, I go, oh yeah, he's got his 4 humours. He's probably got one, maybe a bit too much, but he's really good.
Yeah.
You know, because you feel good.
Oh,
People,
that
you
must be that
feel
sick
good.
sense, not sixth sense, the sick sense of humor, right? So,
That's Felgum.
yeah, that's great. That's great. So thank you, thank you very. I nearly said darling there. Thank you, darling.
Oh,
Right, it's so lovely to
yeah,
see you, and hopefully we can do this again further down the line.
yeah,
Because I think it's important. I've got a strong feeling there's going to be stuff coming up so quickly in the next few months, you know. But hey, let's just go with it, you know. And somebody, another friend I have in Belgium, she said to me, she got this song for me, right? It's called Spaceman, and it's by Babylon Zoo, right? And that
oh,
goes a lot. Look, here it comes. Because I said to her, I feel like I'm a spaceman now. I can't really identify with any of these earthlings. And she said, oh, she said, why don't you look at that song? Well, I looked at it and I thought, oh God, right. It's all happening, you know. So thanks, Elsa, and my regards to the family, and I'll speak to you next time.
thanks, Dr. J. It's nice
Okie
to see you.
dokie.